Self-awareness is a superpower. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. This video is about your rising sign. So you're going to need to know exactly what time you were born in order to get this placement. I'm going to put a link in the description box for a natal chart calculator. This link will take you to a site that will take in all your information and then give you a chart of your rising sign and some other information. So yeah, you're gonna need to know your birthday and the location and exact time of birth in order to get this calculation. And our rising sign is it's a super important placement. It also has an influence over our personality, just like our sun sign and our moon sign, except our rising sign is how people see us when they first see us. I like to consider the rising sign as our representative, how we like to represent ourselves. And I feel like if we look back to childhood and the way we perceive our household, that has a strong influence on how our rising sign develops. And I say that, but at the same time, after studying astrology and numerology for some time, I truly believe that we do choose our parents and our circumstances in order to gain the experiences that we need. Because you can look at a child's natal chart and kind of see the different influences that's going to be a part of their life, a part of their life experience, into molding them to be who they aspire to be in this life. So I feel like based on our rising signs and other placements like that, it's like we have the perfect parents. Whether we might consider them to be horrible or whatever, we have the perfect parents. We have the perfect parents who will influence and mold us into the characters that we are. So yeah, our rising sign, like I feel like our childhood plays a big part in helping us to stand into that role, stand into that mold. So when you think of a person's rising sign, think of the outside of a house or a building. So it's like, imagine on a street there's this beautiful house, but on the inside of the house, it looks like a house on the outside. But on the inside, maybe it's a doctor's office, or maybe it's like a reform house for people who came out of prison, but looks like there's cookies being baked in there and just like a whole warm, loving family vibe in there. But on the inside, which that could be our moon, will be seen on the inside. But on the outside is pretty much our rising. And I find that a lot of the times when we meet other people who share the same zodiac sign as us and we feel like, whoa, me and this person have nothing in common. Our rising sign plays a big part in that, because even though you might share the same sun sign, your representatives are different. You like to represent yourselves differently. And our rising sign shows people, like, it gives it's our way of presenting ourselves, but it goes deeper than that. It goes as deep as influencing our thoughts and how we keep up these image. Because say if your rising sign is, say like Virgo rising, that's my rising sign, and you come off as someone who is pretty much detailed, organized, consistent, who appear to have your life together, even if you really don't have your life together, your rising sign is going to influence you to keep that going. But not just influence you, it is also a part of you. So yes, you keep up the image, you try to keep up the image of your rising, but that energy is also a part of you. It's like a piece of a puzzle that goes together with the other placements to make up the whole. So yeah, this rising energy is also embedded in you, but keeping up your image is what helps you to activate and to pretty much keep getting better at this energy. But it is also a big part of your personality and who you are. Aries rising. So if you have Aries in your first house, others will see you as someone who is independent, someone who is action oriented, someone who is direct, and you might also be seen as someone who is competitive and possibly aggressive, because Aries is the sign that is ruled by Mars. And whenever I think of Mars, I think of a sergeant, I think of a general, and I also think of an athlete, someone who is like really good at what they do, like an athlete that's like the captain of the team. So people with Aries in their first house, or even Mars in their ascendant sign, is going to have a athletic build about them. It's like, even though you might not work out, you'll just have this athletic look about you, or people will ask you if you work out even though you don't work out. Having Aries in the first house, you seem like a leader, like you seem like someone who other people want to follow. You seem like someone who knows the right answers, or knows what it is that needs to be done, because that Arian energy gives you that sense of just that confidence and that energy that says, follow me, I'll take you where you need to go. That Aries energy in the first house can also make you come off as someone very pushy and impulsive. And I can relate to this energy because I have Mars in my first house. And having Mars in my first house, like, I have to remind myself to take it easy, because in my mind, like, I want things to be done like as soon as possible. Let's make it happen right now. And to other people, that could be perceived as being pushy, like just being pushy. I remember this psychic I went to see once made a joke with me, and he was like, don't be a pushy bitch. And yeah, I guess with Aries in my first house, it makes me come off as a pushy bitch, even though I guess maybe I am to a certain extent, because it's like that Aries energy, Aries being a fire sign and being the first sign of the zodiac, it's like you're action oriented and you are all about initiating change. So you might not have the patience to wait for other people to take their sweet time. You might want things to happen right now. And your energy is going to say that. And people who move a little bit slower and who aren't action oriented as you, or don't work with a level of urgency, might feel a bit intimidated by this energy. And you might get a bit frustrated with them, because it's like you're moving at the speed of light and they are crawling along, taking their sweet time. So this can be super frustrating. So for me personally, over time, I've learned to be patient with others. Like, I've learned to tone that energy down. Tone it down in the sense that, no, don't suppress yourself and who you are, but at the same time, recognize the speed that people are working with and try to meet them at that, or be more selective on the people who you associate yourself with when it comes to getting certain things done. Like, say for example, you're starting a new business or whatever, and you might have a friend of yours who you love and appreciate. Like, perfect example, I have a good friend of mine who is a photographer, and he is good at what he does, but at the same time, he takes his sweet time and he does things basically. So he has strong Cancer and strong Taurus energy within his chart, and those two signs are signs that like to take their time and do things, you know, at their own speed. And because I know that Mars in the first house for me, which is similar to Aries rising, needs things done as soon as possible, I had to pretty much look at the big picture and let him know, you know, I don't think it would be a good idea for us to work together, because I can see us clashing with me needing to get the work done as soon as possible and him feeling the need to get to it whenever he gets to it. Another thing with Aries in the first house, you might be someone who likes to be active and like to be physical and like to get outside and exercise. I mean, keep in mind your other placements are also important with this, like what your sun is, what your moon is, and where Mars is, and things like that. But for the most part, just focusing on Aries rising alone, you might find that you like to be active, or you might find that you feel good after a workout, after exercising, after getting your adrenaline pumping and moving. You might find that you enjoy driving fast and listening to loud music because, you know, with Mars representing the sign of action, being the ruler of your first house sign, and with Mars being your chart ruler, because your rising sign also represents the sign that rules your chart, meaning that Mars energy is going to be a strong influence in everything that you do. So with this strong Mars energy being an influence with everything that you do, action is very, very important to you. The downside of this energy is that Aries for me is the sign that jumps into the swimming pool and then realizes there's no water in it. So with Aries being your rising sign, I think, or not think, I know, because I can relate to this energy again with having Mars in my first house, learning to be more strategic will help you to get a lot more done and faster, instead of just moving at the speed of light at all times when it comes to everything that you're doing. Yes, take some time to reflect and be strategic and then take action. You will see, basically things will work out a lot better in your favor if you are able to pretty much be strategic. Learn to be strategic and not so impulsive when it comes to everything that you do. Not saying that you're impulsive when it comes to everything that you do, but with Mars being the planet of action, like I said before, being so passionate and being so driven and being this general soldier, this leader, this energy that needs to be first, you know, you might want to be the first to make something happen, but in the process of not thinking it through, or in the process of not thinking it through, even though you were the first to do it, you didn't do it the best way that you could have possibly done it if you had only taken the time to reflect, look at the bigger picture, and then take action. But with Aries in the first house, having a Aries rising, basically you are a natural leader, and you will find that you naturally lead in everything that you do. And with this being your chart ruler, like I said, in every aspect of your life, you will have a sense of leadership about you. On the opposite end, with the Aryan energy, Aries is also the baby of the zodiac, and being the first sign, it might take you a long time to mature into your leadership role, where for a while you may have operate like a baby, you know, and this is not for all. It just depends on our levels of evolution, and we all evolve differently in different levels of our lives. You know, life is not a competition or whatever, because in one area one person might be more evolved, and in another area the other person is more evolved. So it's like we're all going at a different pace in life, so we can't be compared. But anyways, yes, for the earlier part of your life, you might find that you are more of a baby. Instead of being independent, you might have been more dependent. But as you mature into yourself, and if you don't allow experiences to create fear where that courage naturally is, you'll find that yes, you move through life like a Jedi, like freaking lightning, and just accomplish things with a level of bravery that causes others to stand back at awe, you know, admiring like how courageous you are and how you are willing to like take chances other people would be afraid of. I hope this video was helpful. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and let me know your experience with your rising sign, or just whatever it is that you might want to share with me in the comment box below, because I really appreciate hearing from you guys and just the back and forth communication. I look so forward to seeing you in the next video.